Good morning, Flosstube, or whatever time you're watching this. My name is Brijin, and I am the Museum Stitcher. This is my very first Flosstube video ever, and I could not be more excited to share my stitching with you and just to be able to track my crafting for my own uses as well. I think this is going to be really fun. I've been watching Flosstube for a really long time, and I finally got up the courage to jump in and film one myself and be a part of this really awesome community that we have in our little corner of the crafting universe. So this channel is going to be all about cross stitch, although I do a few other crafts, so they might make an appearance at some point, but today is just cross stitch, nothing else. So I thought for this very first video, we would do a WIP parade. I love a WIP parade. I love a project bag parade any time of the year. But I think the timing is actually going to work out really well since it's just about June. It's just about a mid-year WIP parade. So that's what I have. I'm also going to do a little bit of an introduction about me at the beginning, but it'll be like 2 or 3 minutes, I promise. I know that you just want to get to the stitching, which I do too. I have a lot of it to show you, that's for sure. So that being said, let's get into it. So a little bit about me. My name is Brijin, like I said before. It can be a hard one to pronounce, so I'll put a pronunciation in the description box. I'm 24 years old and I live in Fort Worth, Texas. I grew up in Texas. It's where I've always been. I went to school here as well. I work in a museum in Fort Worth, and I love my job. I get to handle historical artifacts, aid in their preservation and storage, and I also get to help work on exhibits. So I do a little bit of everything. Nothing is ever the same day to day, and it's a really cool job. It also allows me to kind of intersect my crafting love with my professional life because I do get to preserve some quilts and needlework and handicraft type things, which always makes my heart happy. It's definitely the job for me. I have 2 degrees. I have a master's degree in museum studies and an undergraduate degree in history. Again, I'm a huge nerd. You're gonna learn that by watching my channel, that's for sure. So yeah, that's my professional life. Outside of work, I have 2 cats. I will insert a picture of them here. The black and white one is Fergus. He's about 2 years old, and I've had him for about 2 years. And the gray one is Fraser, and I've had her for about 3 years, and she's about 7. They make life interesting. If you are a crafter who also has cats, you know how they just get into everything, and they love that you have so many strings of various thicknesses that they can play with. So they make my crafting life much more difficult, but also much more entertaining. You will probably see them on this channel, or at least hear them at some point, but right now they're sleeping, so it was a really good time to film a video. My cats' names might have been an indicator, but I am also a huge reader. I get to listen to audiobooks sometimes at my job, and I find that audiobooks are really helpful for crafters because I can cross stitch while I listen to an audiobook, and it's a little bit less distracting than watching TV, although I do plenty of that as well. My favorite series ever is Outlander. Both of my cats are named after characters from Outlander. I have an Outlander tattoo. It hits all the boxes for me. It's got time travel, it's got history, it's all of the things. I also read a lot of romance and a lot of fantasy. I like magic systems. So you might hear about books on my channel at some point. I am not ruling it out in the future. I just don't have any to share with you right now. So if I read something particularly good, I will let you know on this channel as well. I know I really love watching book talks. I really love when Kansas City Girl in a Colorado World, Julie, does it. Also Shelby, Stitches by Shelby, and the Stitchy Reader. Love all of their channels, love watching the book talk too, so you might see that occasionally with me. A little bit about my Stitchy journey. I am not a native cross stitcher. If the setup behind me is any indicator, I actually quilted first, but before any of that, I was a knitter. I learned how to knit when I was about 9, and I fell in love with it. I've been knitting my whole life. I got into crochet as a New Year's goal for myself. A New Year's resolution, that's the word. my New Year's resolution was to learn how to crochet because I'd always found it really difficult. So my pandemic project of choice was actually crochet. I got into that really heavily in 2020, and then I kind of burnt myself out on it. I did a little bit too much, and I have a couple crochet WIPs that are still in progress, but they're pretty slow going. You might see them, you might not. Whenever I get in the mood to pick them up again, I will. In November of 2020, I wanted to start making some masks, but my sewing machine that my grandmother had given me was kind of crapping out, and I called her and told her that I was kind of interested in picking back up sewing. She taught me when I was younger, but she lived a couple states away, and so we didn't get to work on them all of the time, but every time I went to visit her, we would craft some kind of making pajama pants or a tote bag, lots of sewing practices. So I got a really good foundation from her, even though it was a bit remote. And she was so excited to have someone interested in sewing again that she sent me a brand new sewing machine. And I figured you can't get a really nice new sewing machine and just make masks. So I started learning how to quilt again, and I fell back in love with it. And through that, I started watching YouTube videos to see if I could find some more free patterns, or just to kind of find other patterns and fabrics that I'd be interested in quilting with. And I came across Fat Quarter Shop. They are really big in the quilting community online, and they also have a Flosstube channel. And when I ran out of quilting videos to watch, I started watching the Flosstube. I watched the Flosstube for about 3 months before I actually bought any cross-stitch supplies, but I figured it'd be nice to have something that was a bit more portable than quilting is, because quilting is not portable at all. And I was in grad school at the time, so I wanted something that I could take to my friend's house when we were doing study breaks or watching movies, all those kinds of things. So I grabbed cross-stitch supplies, and I started cross-stitching in June of 2021. So with that, I fell down the rabbit hole really hard. My very first project ever was Flea Market Flowers by Lori Holt, which you can actually see right there. It's all finished. It's not the best finishing ever, but it was my first ever FFO. And it's really special. So that is basically it. From there, I have about 15 or 16 WIPs that are currently going. I haven't done the actual math yet, but I'd love to show them to you. Before we do the WIPs though, I do have a surprise FFO that I forgot to mention in my intro. I'm actually gifting it this weekend, so I have to show it to you now. So let me grab that and I'll be right back. Beautiful. This is Guardians of Notre Dame by Ingleside Imaginarium. There was a sale for this that started in 2017 or 2018, but I was obviously way off from when this started. I am gifting this to my little brother. I promised this for him on his 21st birthday back in January. I started this on I started this on September 1st of 2021, and I finished it on April 23rd, 2022. So I was just about 4 months behind his birthday, 3 months behind his birthday. Totally fine. Family of crafters knows that they sometimes have to wait for their presents even though they've been promised. I stitched this with the called for DMC Gentle Arts. Yeah, just DMC and Gentle Arts on 28 count sterling Lugana from Picture This Plus, which is the most gorgeous color. And I love Picture This Plus Lugana. It's so soft to work on, and it makes it really, really easy. There's so much backstitch on this. This took me so many hours, and I really wish of all of my projects I would have done a time tracker on this, but I'll show you up close. I mean, it's absolutely stunning. Brittany at Ingleside Imaginarium is a complete genius. I would never have been able to do something like this myself, but it's absolutely gorgeous. I just got it in a 12 by 12 frame, which looks very custom, which I'm super happy with. So yeah, I will be gifting this later this weekend, so you won't ever see it again, but I'm super happy with how it turned out. So that's my FFO. I promise you will see more finishes and more FFOs from me in the future, just not right now because this is a WIP parade. So it's been 10 minutes. Let's get into the WIPs because that's what you're here to see. I have my big old stack of them over here in this bin where they normally live. I'll pull out a couple that I'm working on, but this is the WIP parade. So this WIP is Quaker Pumpkins by Hello from Liz Matthews. I'll insert a picture here. But don't laugh at me when I show you this because it's barely even a WIP. It's almost a finish. I made this project by myself, and it's got a handle. It looks really great, and it fits everything. It'll actually fit a 14, or not a 14, an 11 by 11 Q-snap. This is my 4th cross stitch WIP ever, so I would have liked to do it on a different fabric knowing what I know now, but this was my very first project I ever did on an even weave. And here it is. Oh my gosh, it's absolutely beautiful. Let me get you in close. I'm stitching this on 28 count Fawn Lugana from Picture This Plus with all of the called for weeks dye works. It's also my first time ever using fancy floss, and I could not be more happy with it. It is a WIP. It looks like a finish. I have to complete out this bottom corner here before it's done. So I was honestly holding off on finishing this until I filmed this video so I could still show it in my WIP parade. I'm going to be really sad when this one's over. But yeah, that's Quaker Pumpkins. It's absolutely massive. This is a fat quarter and it's taking up the entire thing. So 28 count, it's really big. It used a lot of floss. I wish I would have done it on a 36, but I didn't know any better. So I'm super happy to have that one done whenever it's finished. I really can't wait to have that framed and up for this autumn season. Let's see, what's next? Next is Brijin Cat. This is a kit that I got from Owl Forest Embroidery, another project bag made by me. I started this on September 28th of 2021 with the kitted Owl Forest flosses and fabric. And here's where I'm at. So I have the whole cat done. I'm just need to finish out the Quaker motif that's here and all of the motifs underneath the cat, but it was a really fun stitch. I haven't picked him up in a while, but I think he'll become my 25/7 project once I finish Quaker Pumpkins, since it's my second oldest WIP. Yeah, I really like that one. I like a lot of cat patterns, unsurprisingly. A lot of cross stitchers are cat people too, so it's not just me. All right, my next WIP, I love this project bag. It's from Little Boat 88. They're a Canadian project bag maker, and I have a lot of them, so you'll see quite a few. The inside is this really great snake print. This is Nevermore by Lila's Studio. I started this on Halloween Day of 2021, and it's my first project I ever did on 40 count fabric. I am using the Forbidden Fiber Company conversion for this. So, Forbidden Fiber fabric and flosses, and here's where I'm at. Oh, this fabric is so pretty. I absolutely love it. And I did buy a fat quarter of this, so I have it on another project as well. I have the entire width of the piece done here, and I'm just working on filling in that top Quaker border. It is pretty finicky. You just have to pay attention when you work on this. This is 40 count Morning Mist from Forbidden Fiber, which I think is still available on their website. And let me show you these flosses really quick because they're not the called for, so. Oh, they're so pretty. Forbidden Fiber flosses are great. I have a lot of them because I have a lot of kits from them because they do book and TV themed things, and that's kind of my jam. So that is Nevermore. I will pull that out whenever I feel like working on Halloween again, but I haven't. My next WIP is The First Day of Christmas by Hello from Liz Matthews. I love Hello from Liz Matthews. You can see, well, you can partially see Butterfly Cloche there. I am doing all 12 of this series on one piece of fabric, and I started this on December 17th of 2021. I'm stitching mine 1/1 on 32 count vintage smoky white linen, and here's where I'm at. I'm using the called for NPIs. So I finished sketching out the first square, and then I got a little bit worried about my side margins, so I'm doing the top borders on the other 4 that are going to make up the top. So it'll be 4 squares wide by 3 squares high, and it's so little. The stitches for this are so small, but if you have any tips for ending off your thread on 1/1 32 count, let me know, because trying to bury my thread underneath other stitches is really difficult when the back post of the stitch isn't that high. I'm super pumped with this. My future plans for this piece, starting in May, were to pull them out for the 24th and 25th of every month, since Christmas is on the 25th and Christmas Eve is the 24th, just so they get a little bit of face time and I'm able to catch up to the series, because I believe Liz has only released up to number 6, which I haven't bought up to that yet because it's going to take me a while to catch up on this piece. But I'd love to catch up on this so that it can be a finish for now instead of a WIP. So this is a Mad for Plaid project bag from the Fat Quarter Shop. They're great for holding big projects. I really like them for Mirabilias and Shadowlanes because those have a lot of extras and beads and all those things, and the gusset on this bag is really great. So project bag plug there. This is my other Christmas WIP. This is in a Dot Dot Goose Designs bag, and this is Woodland Wonder by Glendon Place. I'll put a picture up. I started this on Christmas Day of 2021, and I am stitching it with the called for DMC Krynick and Millhill on a 32 count vintage country mocha linen. Sorry for all of the wrinkles. I have sketched out the entire top border, and I was working on some of these snowflakes. The snowflakes have the Krynick blending filament, so they sparkle, although it's really not picking up that great on camera. But I really like this piece. I'm hoping to have it finished by Christmas this year, but we'll see. Nothing too crazy. I like that this piece doesn't really have any big Christmas motifs. It's just kind of the deer with the trees, so maybe it can stay out a little bit longer than just Christmas. But yeah, that was my Christmas Day start. I'm sorry if anyone doesn't like the zipper sounds. I know that can be a little hard for people in headphones, but what are you gonna do? Okay, so those are all of my 2021 WIPs. Now for the 2022 starts that are still WIPs, because I finished quite a few things in 2022 already. This is another Mad for Plaid project bag from the Fat Quarter Shop. This is my Mirabilia. I decided to start a Mira on New Year's Day. It was my New Year, New Start, and this is at the Met. Here's the pattern. Oh, she's so pretty. I was originally going to stitch the Egyptian conversion of her, where her dress is white and her skin is darker. But I was on a Mirabilia Facebook group, and I saw someone had stitched it on this gorgeous wine red fabric. So this is actually the first piece of fabric I ever dyed myself. And here's where I'm at. So I've sketched out the bottom of her dress there, and I'm working on filling in all of that black. But when I want to take a break, I'm working on her scarf or shawl, whatever you want to call it. Oh, it's so pretty. And this fabric turned out amazing. This is a 28 count even weave that I hand dyed myself. And I think she's going to be absolutely stunning on it, if I do say so myself. Because she was a New Year, New Start, I am hoping to get her done this year. I also have a few other Miras that I really want to start, but I'm waiting until I get some more progress on her before I get there. I'm using all of the called for DMC, Karen Water Lilies, Petite Treasure Braid, all of the things that are called for in a Mira pattern. Just change the fabric. So she's looking really cool. I haven't decided if I'm going to do 1/1 skin yet, or if I'm going to do the charted skin, but we'll see. My next WIP is in another project bag that I made myself. How cute is that fabric? It's all about like day drinking and cocktails and stuff with the little limes. This is Tequila by Stitch Rovia. I'm stitching mine with all the called for DMC on a 28 count Ivory Lugana from Fabric Flair. And here's where I'm at. I love this pattern. I love Stitch Rovia patterns because she does this really awesome thing where she puts the entire chart in an on-screen PDF so that you can zoom in really well and it doesn't have the page breaks. And her color choices are great. My needle minder, I love it. It's a little uterus that says grow a pair. It's from Rebel Stitcher. If you haven't checked out her needle minders, do. They're very snarky and I love them. So yeah, I haven't gotten much FaceTime in on this since I started it. I started on February 22nd of 2022, which was National Margarita Day here in the US. I thought it was very appropriate, but it screams summer. So I think I'll be pulling this out here in the next couple months, but I haven't worked on it in a while. So that's Tequila. Sorry if I'm looking down. I have all of my WIPs in the Whistlestop Stitchers Digital Cross Stitch Planner, which is a fabulous tool if you haven't looked at that and you need something for your cross stitch. Check it out because it's really cheap and it's a really great way to organize everything. My next WIP I started on March 14th of 2022, and this is Absence and Desire from the Forbidden Fiber Company. It was part of their Discovery of Witches mini kit, and that's what the pattern looks like. They have it finished as a little pillow. I started this on, I told you when I started this already. I'm stitching mine on an 18 count dovetail Aida, which came in the kit with all of the kitted Forbidden Fiber flosses. And here's where I'm at. So this WIP has a little bit of a funny story. I started this on March 14th. I finished it on March 17th. However, I only stitched the text, and I thought that was all I really wanted from this pattern. The symbols are fine, but I'm not really tied to them in any particular way. So I had this as a finish, and it was just sitting in my need to FFO pile for a really long time, and I hadn't really touched it. I didn't really know what I was going to do with just a really thin, long cross stitch piece. I was watching some Vanna Pfeiffer finishing tutorials just to get a little bit of inspiration, nothing specific, the other day, and I saw her drum finish, and I thought this pattern might be a really cool drum because it's so long. However, I wanted it to have a little bit more of a width so the drum wasn't super thin, so I decided to go back in and add all of the gold symbols. So I only have one more left. It's that little V-shaped one. I don't know what any of these mean, which is probably terrible, but I do really love Discovery of Witches. It's one of my favorite book series. And yeah. So it's a restart, but also not really a restart. It was a finish, but never really a finish. I don't know. It's its own thing. But I'm really close to finishing that. So hopefully it'll be a drum in my next video. My next WIP. I love this WIP so much. This is a project bag that I made, and I quilted it myself out of some Sharon Holland bookish fabric, I think is what the line is called. And I made a matching grime guard. This is the Bookcase by Galliana Cross Stitch. It's what it looks like. I was 100% enabled to start this by Stitches by Shelby here on YouTube. I really love her channel. If you haven't seen it, she's doing this really cool rainbow conversion on her bookshelf. This is mine. I love this so much. It's so pretty. Let me move this thread that's in the way. I'm stitching mine on a 36 count Highland linen by Picture This Plus, which is this lovely green gray with a little bit of a yellow tint. It's really cool in person. It's picking up a little bit on camera. This is charted as a monochromatic piece, but I'm doing all of my books and knickknacks in different colors. The actual bookshelf itself, I'm stitching with Black Walnut from Color and Cotton, which Color and Cotton flosses is my first time using them. They're amazing. They're so soft. I signed up for the club after I put in the first 10 stitches on this piece because it's so pretty. But yeah, I have a page finish here. I'd love to get another page finish in soon. My needle minder is it's in the Valaris seal from Akatar that I got from Fangirl Fibers. I absolutely love it. And I want to get back to this. I'm doing another conversion on the books in more pinks and teals and greens, but I'm planning on stitching the entire bookcase before I get to that, so I'll let you know my conversion as I get there because I haven't really thought it out yet. So that's the bookcase. I started this one on April 24th of 2022 as kind of a reward for finishing Guardians of Notre Dame that I showed you earlier, because that piece was so massive that I needed something else. My next WIP I started on May 3rd of 2022, and this one is in this gorgeous Beauty and the Beast bag from Little Boat 88. I love it. This is Bushel and a Peck by La Di Da. Here's what it looks like. And here's where I'm at. This one's still in the hoop, I'm sorry, but I think it's fine because you can see the whole design. This is a Nurge hoop. I'm trying these out. I just started using them this past week, and I'm really loving them so far. They are a whole lot easier to hold than a Q-snap is. But I love these Little Boat 88 bags because they hold a number 3 Nurge hoop or an 8x8 Q-snap if that's your jam. So yeah, here's where I'm at. I love this piece. I'm doing mine on 40 count mallow linen from Zweigart with a partial conversion. The brown that's the text and the green are the called for, but the red and the gold I changed up a little bit. The called for was a bit more of a true red. I'm using Holly Holy from Forbidden Fiber because I had some extra from the Discovery of Witches pattern that I just showed you, which is a bit more plummy than the called for. And then I'm using DMC 680 instead of the called for because it's a bit more of a true gold than a green gold. I just thought it looked better on this fabric. So I'm stitching this one for my mom. Her birthday is coming up in mid-June, so I'm really hoping to have it finished by then. This pattern stitches up so fast. I absolutely love it, and I can't wait to get back to it. This is the one I've been working on the most in the last couple days, just because I'm trying to work up on that deadline. Here's my back, if you're curious what my backs look like. I'm a pretty neat backs kind of a gal. And the needle minder on that mixing bowl was from Rebel Stitcher as well. Ooh, okay, here's my next WIP. This is a very popular WIP to have right now, although I'm very behind on this series. This is the Fox by Cottage Garden Samplings. Here's what he looks like. If you haven't seen this, I don't know how you haven't seen this, because I feel like everyone and their mother knows about this series. I'm part of the auto ship for this club from Top Knot Stitcher Shop. If you haven't seen Abby or her videos, go check her out. She's great. Her customer service is fantastic. So every month she sends me this chart and she invoices me for it. So I have all of them. I am still on number 1, but I have them all. I started mine on May 7th of 2022, and I'm stitching mine with the called for flosses on Forbidden Fiber 40 count Morning Mist. I thought this fabric with the blue undertone would look really good. I am having a hard time getting the snowflakes to show up, but I don't think that'll be a big deal. So yeah, I haven't even started on the Fox yet, but we'll see where we get. I am planning on stitching this entire series. I don't quite know how I'm going to finish them yet. I may not stitch the ferret. He's not really my particular jam, and I think I'm going to be stitching the newest release, which is the eagle, for my grandfather. So I won't be keeping all of them from the series. I don't know. We'll see. But I have this in a very on-theme fox bag that I bought way before this series ever came out. So I love that I just happened to have a fox bag for my fox to go in, from Little Boat 88 as well. I don't know if this one's still available or not, but I love this fabric. I think it looks really great in the project bag. That's the Fox. My next WIP is Love Gains from Modern Folk Embroidery. Here's what it looks like. I started mine on May 14th of 2022. And Jacob at Modern Folk Embroidery is an absolute genius. If you haven't seen his stitches, go check them out. As a history major, I really love the research that he puts into his reproduction samplers, and I don't know, his whole thing is fabulous. Here's mine. I'm stitching this on a 28 count even weave that is part of the Fangirl Fibers A Court of Thorns and Roses fabric club. Her choices are 14 count or 28. I wish this was a 32. This is Stay with the High Lord. That's the colorway, which if you know the reference, you get it. And I am using Color and Cotton's limited edition Salem on this, which it's not picking up as well in camera. It's a gray-black variegation, but it's got this lovely purple undertone that pairs so well with this fabric. I could not have done a better match myself if I had tried. And I just bought a couple skeins randomly, and I was moving them around, and I set them on top of this fabric, and I was like, wait, I think I need to do a monochromatic stitch with that piece of fabric. And Love Gains was in my stash, so that's what I'm doing. I am going to be changing the words on this piece. I haven't figured that out yet, but yeah, it's going to be really big. It's going to take up the whole width of this piece, I think. But yeah, that's Love Gains from Modern Folk Embroidery. Will not be my only Modern Folk Embroidery WIP for very long, because Jacob's coming out with some really cool stuff this summer. This project bag is actually the project bag that came with the Discovery of Witches mini kit, which, look at that sparkle. I love a good sparkle. But I thought I had finished that WIP, so I put another project in the bag, and then I went back to the bag, or to the project, but the bag was already taken back up. So it's my Forbidden Fiber bag stash that I'm working on. My next WIP, this is a really fun one. This is Spring Quakers by Rosewood Manor, and here's what it looks like. I will say the colors look very different in person than they do in the picture, and I kind of like the picture ones better, but I'm sticking with it, and hopefully the entire chart will look really great. I am planning on stitching all of the ones in this series. I started this one on May 15th of 2022, but I have it in my head that I'd like to start the other ones on the first day of that season. Unfortunately, the summer pattern is sold out right now, so I'm trying to find that, but it's not looking like I'll get it before the first day of summer. But here's my start. I'm stitching this on the called for 28 count Valor linen from Picture This Plus, which is absolutely stunning. The variegation or the modeling on this fabric is fantastic. And I am using, here I'll show you, the called for Valdani silks. Now these come in little balls, but I like to pre-cut all of my floss, so I pre-cut them and I put them on these floss hearts from Adam Hart Cross Stitch. If you haven't heard of these are absolutely amazing. They're a must-have for me. I prefer floss drops when I'm stitching, and then I bobbinate to store, so these are a really great option. But yeah, those are all of the Valdani silks kitted up onto floss drops. So I don't know if that's a no-no, but it's what works for me. So that's my start. This will probably go away for the summer and probably won't get a whole lot of face time until next spring. Since I am planning on doing the entire series, I do need to devote some time to the other ones, and those will be other new starts for this year. All right, I just have 2 more WIPs to show you, and then that's it. I know I've been rambling for a really, really long time. I love this project bag. This is also from the Fat Quarter Shop. It's like the Mad for Plaid ones, but it's just a little smaller. And it fits a little bit better in my WIP bin, which I guess is empty now because I have so many WIPs. I outdid the bin. And now you can see Butterfly Cloche, which I finished a while back. This is the Mini Mystery Mandala number 3 from Shadowlane Designs. I got mine kitted up by European Cross Stitch. I was having her kit up one of the bigger mandalas from Shadowlane so I could start that, and I figured I'd throw in a little one just to get my feet wet with some of the specialty stitches. So I'm going to finish this and then I'll move on to my bigger Shadowlane, which also came in at the same time. Here's my start. I don't have a very big one. I am stitching mine on 28 count Mushroom Lugana with the called for, all the called for things. In this case, it's the NPIs instead of the DMC, just because those blues were absolutely stunning. And it was a gift from my grandfather. So he told me to go all out and get what I wanted. So that's that one. I'm really liking it so far. I haven't hit any of the specialty stitches yet, so it's basically just a regular cross stitch at the moment. But yeah, that is that one. And I just have one more. This WIP is the only WIP I don't know when I started it. It is, here's the project bag. It is Forbidden Fiber Company. It was their Magnolia mini kit. And I got it and I started it the day that it came in the mail. I don't remember when that is. And then I haven't touched it since. So it hasn't gotten a whole lot of love. This is on the kit fabric with the kitted flosses, which the kit fabric is a 32 count linen in Winter Sparrow. Needleminder from Rebel Stitcher. And I just have a little bit of the text. Let me show you what the pattern looks like. That might actually be helpful, Brijin. Here's the pattern. The world needs who you were meant to be, with the little magnolias. And my great-grandparents used to have a magnolia tree at their house, so I kind of liked the meaning behind that. So yeah, that's where I'm at in comparison to the actual pattern. Not very far. I don't really have any plans to pick this one back up, but we'll see. It does travel really easy because it's only like 3 or 4 colors. And the project bag is great. Again, Forbidden Fiber normally kills it. All of their kits, they're fantastic. I highly recommend everything that they do. So that's all my WIPs. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that actually went so fast. I'm so sorry if I'm talking really quickly. It's just I'm a little nervous, and here's where we're at. Here, I'll show you this one real quick while we're talking about it. I know I promised no other finishes, but this is Butterfly Cloche from Hello from Liz Matthews. Called for DMC on a 36 count linen that I can't remember the name of. I guess I'll give you the story of this one really fast. I started this on the day that my grandmother passed away. This is the grandmother who bought me my sewing machine and taught me to really, really love crafting. And so I thought she would really appreciate this piece in memory of her. I actually recharted the numbers. Her birthday was May 30th of 1932. So I cut out all the zeros and was able to rechart the numbers. And I thought it turned out really well. And this piece is really special. I actually finished it 1 month to the day that she died. 1 month after her passing. So it's a really special piece to me. It lives kind of wherever I like to look at it, but I'd like to get some museum glass on this just so that it's a little bit more protected since it is such a special stitch. But yeah, that's another one of my finishes, probably the finish that I am the most proud of. So that's everything as far as cross stitch is concerned. I did want to kind of tell you about my plans for this channel, and then I'll let you go. If you're still here, thank you for watching this far. I think I'm going to film about every 3 weeks. That seems to be a good schedule for me, enough time for me to get enough progress that I feel like it's worth showing you my cross stitch and my haul and all of those normal Flosstube things. I know today was a little different because it was #1 and because it was a WIP Parade. But that's kind of my plans. I also want to create a WIP Go board. I did not do that at the beginning of the year because I didn't really have enough WIPs. I only had like 3 or 4. And so it just wasn't going to be a system that worked for me very well. So I am working on doing a mid-year WIP Go board. And I do plan on filming a kit parade just so you can see all of the projects that I've kitted up, because I have about 13 or 14 kits that are ready to start whenever I'm ready. And I always like watching people's kit parades as well, just to see what they have on their back burners, what they've got ready to go. So those are all of my plans for the next couple of weeks. So again, thank you for watching. I really hope you like what you saw and that you got some good stitching in while you watch this. I know it's not as long as some of the other Flosstube videos that I tend to like to watch, like the hour-long ones. So maybe we'll get there eventually one day, but not for now. So leave me a comment below. Let me know where you're watching from, what you stitched on while you watched this, or just say hi. I'm really looking to make some cross-stitch friends with this channel, and I'm really interested in seeing what you guys have to say. So check me out on Instagram if you haven't already. Consider subscribing if you want to know when I post my next video, which will be a much more normal Flosstube type of a deal. And in the meantime, happy stitching, have a great week, have a great day, all of the things. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!